We are the Lady Shri Ram College alumni group in the Bay Area.
We are connected by the spirit of liberation through knowledge.
We care about women's well-being, education, personal and professional growth.
We fully support Narika's mission and we applaud their tireless efforts.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Narika's 2020 annual gala. And it's a masquerade. Thank you all amazing people for being our attendees this year. It's going to be a fun evening with entertainment and conversation from amazing speakers. In a few minutes, we will have our bartender, Neha, helping us mix our very own special cocktail called Into the Light. Have fun, everybody.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Hey everyone. Oh, I certainly won't be needing this for the next 2 minutes. Let's try that again. Hey everyone, welcome to Narika's annual gala. My name is Neha and I'm signed in from Toronto, Canada, and I'm going to be your bartender for this evening. I'm going to be taking you through our Into the Light cocktail, but before I do that, I'm just going to go over the ingredients one more time. So I'm using a London dry gin, and for the non-alcoholics, you're going to be using seedlip instead of the gin. I'm using freshly squeezed lemon juice, a sweetener. I'm using agave nectar, but you can use sugar syrup or even plain sugar. That's absolutely fine. And then I'm going to be topping off the cocktail with a sparkling wine. And for the non-alcoholics, you can either use a really good tonic water or even just sparkling water. And then to garnish, we're just going to be using lemon zest. So let's get started. So to start off, you're going to grab your shaker. If you're not using a shaker, you can even just use a tightly sealable water bottle. That's absolutely fine. And to this, we're going to be adding 60 mils or 2 ounces of gin. Again, for the non-alcoholic version, you're going to be using seedlip instead. To this, we're going to add 15 mils or half an ounce of freshly squeezed lemon juice. And then about a teaspoon of whatever sweetener you're using. So again, I'm using agave nectar, but you can use sugar syrup or plain sugar as well. And now you can just grab some ice, and we're going to give this a good shake for about 10 to 15 seconds. You really want to bring the temperature of that liquid really low. And then we're going to strain this into our glass. And then to top this up, we're going to be using 60 mils or 2 ounces of sparkling wine. Again, for the non-alcoholic version, you're either using tonic water or sparkling water. And then for the garnish, we're just going to use some lemon zest. So you want to squeeze the oils into the drink, and then you can just drop it into the glass. And there you have it. So let's all raise a glass as we walk into the future and into the light with Narika. Cheers, everyone.
I hope you enjoyed making your Into the Light cocktail mocktail. Please join me in a toast to 28 years of Narika, to all of you, our amazing supporters and donors, friends and family. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
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 Hi, this is Ashu Goyal, CEO of Winwire, a global technology services firm. We at Winwire are passionate about working for purpose-driven organizations. and are proud to support Narika's purpose of empowering women and supporting victims of domestic violence. Please join me in supporting Narika's purpose and helping create a violence-free world. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Lata Krishnan. I support Narika because I believe that a nation's full potential can only be reached when her women are safe and empowered. I love the work that Narika does. I hope you'll join me tonight in supporting them.
Hi, I'm Manish Arya, Chief Technology Officer of Tavant. Tavant has decided to support Narika this year because of the amazing work it does in supporting women in abusive relationships. And it's important to note that not only does Narika end up helping these women feel safer, become happier, it also helps them become more productive members of society. And then they in turn can help others. So please, please join us today in helping to support this wonderful cause.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bindu Fernandez, and I'm Executive Director at Narika. We're here bound together by one vision: safety, empowerment, and wellness for all. Because none of us are free until all of us are free. It is my joy and privilege to introduce to you our Master of Ceremonies for the evening, Mr. Raj Mathai. Mr. Raj Mathai is the weeknight news anchor at NBC Bay Area. He's a 10-time Emmy Award winner, and in 1995, he became the country's first Indian sportscaster. And we share something in common. He was born in Kerala, my home state in India. Please welcome your host for the evening, the amazing, the brilliant, the one, the only, Mr. Raj Mathai.
Hello, how are we doing? Thank you so much for that introduction. If you can see me behind the mask, yes, it's Raj Mathai with NBC. Hope everyone's doing great here. It's a pleasure to be here this evening with all of you, even in this mask. Our theme tonight is our masquerade. So we want to welcome you to Narika's 28th annual gala. If you're excited as we are, we appreciate it. There are a lot of familiar faces and familiar names on this Zoomcast, and we appreciate you being back with us. And for all of you new to Narika, we welcome you. And being here tonight is just a great example of all of us coming together as a community. And, if I may, unmasking a problem, a challenge, but something that we can overcome in our community. So whether it's a masquerade mask or a Dr. Fauci mask, we ask you in spirit, this is a place where we can reveal ourselves, be very truthful, and help each other. So again, we welcome you. This is a fundraising event, and being here tonight, you've already done so much. You're helping our community, you're helping your families, your neighbors, your colleagues by just being aware of what's happening in our community. Because since COVID-19, calls to Narika, the domestic violence hotline, have increased 3x. So 3 times the amount of calls for women in the South Asian community, the Indian community, to Narika. So we need to help. We need to come together and really help. If you'd like to text us by donating by texting us the light to 44321. Again, so you can text us the light 44321. We certainly need your support in many ways. There is an inspiring evening ahead of us. We're going to keep a tight timetable, but it's going to be inspiring. It's going to be really enjoyable, and it'll be fun as well. We'd like to wish, we're going to be joined by a guest speaker, Nandita Das. And due to a sudden and unforeseen health issue, Mary Combe will not be joining us live this evening. We wish her, though, a speedy recovery. We want to thank our gold sponsors for making this possible: Winware, Tavant, the Lata Krishnan Foundation, our silver sponsors, Chew LLP, KPMG, GSR, and Weatherford BMW, and our bronze sponsors, Bay Area LSR Alumna, Hoover Krapelka LLP, and the Dillon Law Group, and other sponsors, Morgan Stanley and Health Trust. So we appreciate your support. Logistically, I think we're all pretty familiar how these Zoom calls work now. We would like to hear from you. Join our chat box. Give us comments, give us questions, give us concerns, because again, we can all learn from each other here. And really our goal, of course, is to raise money. But if you ask me, just seeing it from a professional point of view, from a journalist point of view, just spreading the message, spreading our energy with all this helps tremendously. And we can do that. We are doing that as we speak. So logistically, please give us a chat. Let us know how we can improve our community here right in that chat function. Let's get right to the event. Let's get everything started. Let's get a welcome from Vidya Iyengar, Narika's board president.
Thank you, Raj, for the introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Narika team, I welcome you to the 2020 annual gala. Narika was founded 28 years ago by a group of dynamic immigrant women who recognized the need to support women of South Asian descent experiencing domestic violence right here in the Bay Area. Domestic violence in this community is compounded by and rooted in societal myths. Myths such as, if a woman has a good education and job, she does not become a victim to domestic violence. Or myths such as, a family with good status does not ill-treat the women in their household. Narika's mission to change the way we live violence-free was born out of a need to address these societal myths at its root. Over the years, we have often asked ourselves, Have we accomplished this mission? Is there still a need to address domestic violence in the South Asian community in the Bay Area? Although we have heard many success stories and gratifying testimonials from women that we have served over the years, we also continue to receive crisis calls from many women each week, calls that have only increased since COVID-19 began. One such call came to me from a mother of 3 children last month. She told me that her husband had taken their credit cards and car and left the house with their teenage son, leaving her and the 2 younger kids behind for a few days. Although the abuse had been going on for many years, she had not sought help because he was monitoring her calls and online activities. I asked her what Narika could provide to her as a priority. She said, "You all can help me get through the situation, but what I'm really afraid of is that my son will grow up to be just like his father." In moments like these, I recognize that our mission is not yet complete. Our purpose is still relevant in these times. Narika continues our quest to support domestic violence survivors, to help our society shed the mask of shame and fear, and to educate our next generation about healthy relationships. I believe that is truly how we can change the way we live violence-free forever. Narika has come a long way since our inception, with support from many of you, our generous donors, allies, community partners, and volunteers. Please join me in viewing the various services we offer at Narika.
When Tara reached out through Narika's free and confidential domestic violence helpline, she was relieved that her counselor spoke her native Hindi, a language rarely included in other crisis lines. Her counselor helped her create a safety plan, process her trauma, and learn more about her rights. Since she was looking to flee her abuser, her counselor referred her to an emergency shelter and attorneys who could represent her case. Narika also gave emergency financial assistance to support her and her young children's needs. This was a huge relief for Tara. Though Tara was now physically safe, she felt very alone. She enrolled in Narika's support groups and was able to meet others like her and learn techniques for self-care and healing. She then shared her worries about not being able to financially support her 2 young children. Her counselors enrolled her in SEED, Narika's job training program, where she learned skills like resume building and career development. She was thrilled when she received a Narika scholarship that funded a coding course to help her find a better paying job. Her Narika mentors also offered one-on-one consultation as she navigated job applications and interviews. Tara continues to stay in touch with her Narika counselor. Every day brings new complexities and new opportunities, but she knows she does not have to do it alone. Narika and her new community of allies stands with her, always. One day, she hopes to volunteer with Narika and to give back to other women and families just like her.
Start again.
There we go.
From the top? From the top. Just go from the top. All right. There we go. We got me some sound here. Good evening, everyone, and welcome again to the 2020 Narika Masquerade Virtual Annual Gala. My name is Keith McLean, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be back with you here this evening. You know, we were all looking forward to being back in the room, but sometimes those aren't, you know, that's not the plans that were going to happen. So glad you all decided to join us virtually here tonight. As Raj mentioned, we have a fantastic program for you here tonight. You're going to learn how Narika is promoting women's independence, economic empowerment, and well-being by helping domestic violence survivors with advocacy, support, and education. You're going to hear stories, powerful stories of women and their children overcoming incredible adversity and emerging victorious in their battles to gain their independence. And then in a little bit here, we're going to conduct a meaningful appeal and encourage everyone watching to be as generous as they can so that Narika can continue to provide life-saving assistance to some of the most vulnerable folks in our community. I'm very pleased to say that donating here tonight couldn't be easier. We're using what we call a two-screen solution, meaning I need everyone right now to pull out your cell phone. Don't wait, grab your cell phone right now. Again, you're thinking, oh, I'll do it later. Don't do it later, do it right now. Grab your cell phone and then simply open a new text window, like you're gonna text someone, and text the word "the light" with no space, just THELIGHT to 44321. So once again, where you normally enter the phone number, you just enter 44321, and where you'd enter the message, just "the light," THELIGHT. It's that simple. Once you do that, you'll receive a text with a link right back. Just click on that text link and you'll be all set to go. So really simple, my folks. Sit back, grab a cocktail if you're so inclined, and enjoy the rest of our program. I'll see you in a little bit. And at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Narika Executive Director, Bindu Fernandez.
March 2020, what feels like a lifetime ago, the shelter in place. We were all forced into a new world, a world of uncertainty, a world in close proximity with our partners and our loved ones. We've all had to do more than our fair share to improvise and compromise. Now imagine being forced in lockdown with your abuser, fearful for your life, fearful for your children's lives. Just at Narika alone, we saw a threefold increase in calls to our domestic violence helpline.
Narika swiftly responded to this critical need by shifting all services online. In order to meet the demand and volume of calls, we launched our 40-hour domestic violence advocate training to create new capacity in community members and volunteers to support survivors. COVID-19 has affected many of our survivors, especially those working in the service sector and looking for employment in the service sector. They're trying to learn, improvise, and break barriers, just as we all are. These are single mothers fleeing abuse and trying to create financial stability for their children. Narika's team responded by creating one-on-one personalized consultations online and on the phone. These consultations supported survivors with skill development, employment search, and revised financial planning to withstand the economic loss created by the pandemic.
When we stepped up our financial aid during COVID-19, we spent hours speaking with every survivor about new and emerging needs. And during one such interaction, I spoke with a survivor who had fled her abuser and had lost her job during the pandemic. It took her over an hour to disclose to me that she'd been struggling. Her food had run out a couple of days before. This conversation led to our food justice program, where due to the generosity of individuals, community groups, and food banks, we're able to offer weekly distribution of food, produce, and essentials for survivors in need. We've distributed over 1,000 pounds of food.
After I was still growing, at the same time, I got again hit by COVID, and I had to leave the house because I had no rent to be given. I lost my job before that. I didn't know what to do. I was totally in a disaster state.
Hard situation because we have to be at home and there is no work. And especially I have two young kids and I have to handle a lot, which is not so easy.
It has been hard. COVID, of course, I live alone and it has been hard, but I'm getting through it.
When I was attending Narika's group session and all, I was getting a little bit strength for fighting. They also helped me for money and some groceries that I can survive.
They just don't leave you after a situation like, oh, I'm done helping with her, so I have to move to the next one. No, they never done anything like that.
Most important was emotional help because I'm all by myself in America. As Narika advocate came to me with me in the court, my husband was just next to me and I'm so scared of him. The Narika advocate, she was there with me like you can say elder sister or mother.
People should let go of the fear and just reach to people who willing to help you. It is a wonderful place to live. The earth is a wonderful place. So please reach out to people. Don't keep things to yourself and stay strong. There is nothing in the world that you cannot do.
There is a reason for everybody to be on this earth to help each other. If you think that your husband is beating you, but he still loves you, if there is a love, there is no violence. So just remember that.
It's very easy to fall into depression. So I would just say, keep bouncing back up. Don't give up hope. Everything changes and this shall pass too.
I really wish to start a school where it should be totally run by women. So that's what I wish to accomplish in my life.
I like public speaking. I am a part of Toastmasters since last year. After my divorce, I joined it, and I was passionate about public speaking. The speeches I do is original and comes from what I'm going through and what I practice to keep myself up and running.
Actually, I have a very big dream of being a very successful person and at the same time being a very humble too. I don't know how much my dream can come true, but I would like to help Narika. If I be a successful person and if I get a lot of money, I can help other people to get success as well.
Hi, I'm Manish Arya, Chief Technology Officer of Tavant. Tavant has decided to support Narika this year because of the amazing work it does in supporting women in abusive relationships. And it's important to note that not only does Narika end up helping these women feel safer, become happier, it also helps them become more productive members of society. And then they in turn can help others. So please join us today in helping to support this wonderful cause.
Hi, my name is Lata Krishnan. I support Narika because I believe that a nation can only reach its full potential when her women have reached their full potential. Narika's work in ensuring that all women are safe and empowered and have the ability to be financially independent is what makes me proud of their work. I hope you too will join me tonight in supporting them. And I do very much thank you all for being here tonight.
Lata, nice to see you. It is amazing. Just through my work at NBC, I have the privilege and the honor to be here in the community and seeing so many of these community nonprofits, community organizations that are helping the Bay Area and beyond. And Narika stands out to me because of the work the organization is doing. A brief history here, started in 1992 by 6 immigrant women to primarily support the South Asian survivors of domestic violence. And these last 6 months, it's been hard, right? We all know it, whether it's COVID-19, whether it's the economic crisis, whether it's the social unrest in the streets, or just this election coming up. This is a difficult time for so many of us. And a lot of that stress, that anxiety gets taken out on women at home. And I guess, and I'll say again, as I said a few minutes ago, the calls to the Narika hotline has gone up by 3x. So these women, our moms, our sisters, our friends, our colleagues, they need our help. And we are here to help them. Let's do a quick pivot here. A quick audience poll. You ready for this? We're going to get out of this at some point. We're going to get out of this pandemic at some point, whether it's a few months, several months, maybe a few weeks, who knows? But let's take a quick poll. It's right there on your screen. What's the one fun activity you would like to do in the future when you're not able to do right now during COVID? Okay, here's mine. And I actually am going to go with number 4. Are you kidding me? I love being socially distant at home. Actually, no, I don't want to be socially distant at home. But I want to have 100 of my friends, hopefully some of you all too, to come over to my house. We're going to have a Bhangra party. Lata is a good friend of mine. Hopefully she can make some dosas, but I want everyone here drinking, dancing, live dole player, a party at my house. So that's what I want to do. But here are the other options. Take a trip to an international destination. Ooh, I want to do that too. Go on a shopping spree to the mall, a night out, Broadway, movies, concert, one of the two. So I guess officially I'm going to go with number 3. But you know my unofficial vote, and that is just to simply have a big Bhangra party at the Mathai house. So please, everyone, join us. So give us a quick vote. We're going to do a real-time status result in just a moment, but give us a vote. Again, if you can support Narika, please do. You just being on the Zoomcast tonight is supporting the mission, is supporting the goal, but we obviously need some financial help, really, because these last 6 months have been so trying. And of course, you can reach out to us via the chat function. Give us your comments, give us some questions. We will reach out to you if you have questions about other activities and other events and the way that Narika is helping women. Let us know as well. So the QuickTime results will come up in a moment. But again, let's see if it comes up. Oh, here it is, the power of Zoom technology. Okay, here it is, what everyone says. Of course, this is an international group. We should have known. 73% of everyone responding in the last, 2 minutes says the one fun activity that they want to look forward to the most after post-COVID is take a trip to an international destination. I'm with you, actually. I was in India, actually, just last October. So what, about 11 months ago, in Bombay, Mumbai, and had a wonderful time. That city looks great right now. So we can hope, we can pray that we'll be out of this shortly. And with our positive optimism and energy, I think we will. You can support us. And we heard those powerful testimonials from the women. They have dreams, they have hopes, and they can attain them with our help. So if you would like to, if you can text us. You know the information there. Our goal today is to raise $250,000. We can do it. We can raise that this evening. Text The Light, no space, THELIGHT, The Light, to 44321 to donate.
During COVID-19, many of Narika's past clients reached out to us. Unfortunately, some of them had lost their jobs after decades of financial stability, while others reached out to us to share their stories of success and determination, despite their past challenges and struggles. Monika is a survivor who was supported by Narika in 2000. I am honored to introduce Monika Walsh. Thank you, Monika, for your courage, your hope, and your resilience as you share your story with us today.
Hi, my name is Malika. When I became a widow in India, my daughters were 2.5 and 8 years old. Their father died on the spot in a car accident. It was difficult for me to carry on in India without any protection. This was 22 years ago. Under these conditions, I responded to a matrimonial ad in the newspapers. And the ad said, NRI, PhD from Berkeley, father of 2 adopted children, seeks wife, .. I had my reservations about replying to the ad, but here was an educated, enlightened Indian man who had adopted children, and that gave me hope. It made me believe that maybe this man would be able to support me and my daughters too. We arrived here in December 1999, and within the month, the abuse started. He would grab me by the ears, dig his nails, and say, no one can see the bruises there. He opened a Macy's credit card, bought men's merchandise, for $1,800, never paid the bill, sabotaged my credit even before it was established. He told me that I would have to start paying rent for the room I was living in. My children were not his responsibility, and that I should be paying for their expenses. He threatened me with a meat cleaver, and he said he would crush my medicines and put it in our food. I was scared. I had no one in the United States besides this person. I wanted to die, but I couldn't leave my daughters behind. I don't know who called 911, but law enforcement took me to the ER. The doctors assessed me for suicidal ideation, but then she said what I was experiencing was domestic violence and it was illegal in the United States. She gave me a list of organizations and Narika was one of them. I explained to my Narika advocate that I was here on a conditional visa and completely dependent on my perpetrator. At that time, she told me of a newly passed law, Violence Against Women Act, and she encouraged me, emboldened me, and empowered me to apply for myself and my daughters. One day I came back from work and law enforcement was waiting at the door along with divorce papers that were served to me, and I was asked to move out of our home at 1 hour's notice. This is when I knew nothing about the laws and the regulations or even where to physically go. My Narika advocate arranged for volunteers to help us move into a hotel for the weekend. She told me the laws of the land. She directed me physically where to go, and she just held my hand through this. My application to move into transitional housing was accepted, and it is there that my daughters and I actually started our journey to recovery. In that organization, we had a home to live. I applied for Section 8. I also applied to petition for myself. I represented myself and being granted green cards. These were independent of my sponsor, independent of my perpetrator, and that was such a sense of empowerment. My daughters since have become citizens of USA. They are both graduates. I have since returned to graduate school, and I have my second master's in counseling. I am currently working in a psychiatric facility. I sublimate my own pain by reaching out to individuals who are again vulnerable. The experiences traumatized us, the experiences transformed us. And we often talk of domestic violence survivors. This survival takes a long time. It's taken us almost 20 years. But here I am, having crossed over to the other side, telling my story in the hope that if all of us come together, we can save another vulnerable single mother with her children, so she may be able to explain her story to us some years down the line. I'm hoping that you also will join me. We will get our act together and help other women who need hope, who need strength. When my Narika advocate told me about the act and the legal options that were available to me, it was almost like she was physically holding me together and giving me her strength. I am forever indebted to Narika. Narika changed 3 lives, myself and my daughters. We often talk about domestic violence survivors, but look at us. We can thrive. We can absolutely thrive and not just survive. So, this is my story, and I hope we can generate several more stories like this. I so appreciate your attention to this. Thank you.
And thank you for sharing your story. Your family has beautiful smiles. A few things that stand out for me, what Narika does is just that helping hand from trauma to transformation, to transition, and not just to survive, but to thrive. We thank her for that. We want to move on here. Narika is just the work it does. It's not in past tense, it's present tense and the future. We are helping so many women. Let's bring in now Keith McLean, who's going to take us through this pledge selection tonight. Keith, take it away.
Hey, thank you, Raj. Appreciate your help here. And my friends, this is why we're here. You know, in the US alone, nearly 20 people suffer from domestic violence every single minute at the hands of somebody who they know or their intimate partner with. So, I mean, that equates to over 10 million people a year. This is an enormous challenge. And what's most interesting about this is when an instance of domestic violence happens, you know, time is of the essence. I mean, there's really, things need to start happening immediately, or in many cases, it becomes a life and death situation. And that's where Narika comes in. There's services, it starts with the helpline and then goes through all their other services. You know, folks who are, find themselves in this situation need to find food and shelter and so many other things, you know, and eventually, you know, where they're going to work and how they're going to support themselves. And that's where Narika comes in. And this, the most striking evidence of this is, as Raj mentioned earlier, the helpline's gone up threefold since COVID started. You know, they used to get about 20, Narika used to get about 20 calls a week. And now it's up to about 60 calls a week. So, I mean, think about that for a second, 60 calls a week, and that's just the beginning. And so that's where you can all help us. That's what we're looking for here tonight. So once again, I'm gonna ask everyone to please pull out your cell phone. And then if you can text the light to 44321. Again, open a new text window where you type the phone number, type 44321. And then where you type the message, just type one word, the light. That'll get you into our pledging system. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start by asking for generous donations in the amount of $10,000 down to $5,000. Excuse me, well, let's go to $7,500. $10,000 to $7,500, $5,000, $2,500, $1,000, $500, $250, and all the way to $100 with the hope, the goal being that one of those amounts, one of those investments in not just Narika, but in our survivors here tonight is going to work for every person or every couple in this room. So on that note, and by the way, again, we're just texting the light to 44321. If now's the time, if you can donate $10,000, please, I ask you to please click it in the software. Again, once you enter, again, the light to 44321, you'll get a bounce back. Just click on that link right there, and that'll take you to our software. You'll see our various levels, or you can enter your own level. Is there anybody who wants to jump in at the $10,000 level right now? Again, folks, it costs about $1,000 to give one survivor Narika's services for an entire year. So it looks like we have a number of $1,000 survivors. Ranjan, thank you so much. Priya Ranjan right there at $1,000. Sudhir right there. Sonia for donating there. Folks, now's the time. We're already up to $44,000. Fastly approaching our first sub goal here. If $10,000 is the right number for you, my friends, jump on in with a generous $10,000 donation. Maybe $7,500. Again, $7,500 does so much as well. $7,500 will sponsor 35 survivors with 2 or 3 days of emergency housing. As I mentioned earlier, housing is so important in this situation, right? A big challenge that a lot of folks have is that they don't leave or they can't get out because they have nowhere to go. And that's where emergency housing, which can take many forms, becomes critical. Most shelters are full when someone's fleeing abuse. Narika offers free hotel stays while working on matching survivors there with available shelters. So $7,500 would provide that housing for 35 survivors. If that's a good number for you, jump on in. Again, we see Makala right there at $1,000. Thank you so much, Makala. If $7,500 is the right number for you, jump on in with that. Maybe $5,000 is a good number for you. Again, folks, so many services we're doing here. Crisis counseling, support groups, workforce developments. The helpline, as I said, 3 times as busy as a result of COVID. Emergency housing, legal representation, groceries. I mean, there's so many reasons right now that our families and our survivors need your support here tonight, and that's why we're here. Looks like we're getting more bids coming in right there. If 5,000 is a great number for you, jump on in with that. Again, I see folks saying, can I pledge 10,000 and pay by my company matching? Absolutely, folks. Again, if you just reach out to our community here, we'll get that. Looks like Guatam's come in with $5,000. Guatam, thank you so much for that. Greatly appreciate it, my friends. Comment section alive here. Again, if you want to pledge any amount and have your company match, of course we can do that. You can just reach out to the Narika folks tomorrow and they'll take care of you right there. That's fine. Again, does anybody want to match Guatam's bid at $5,000? I mean, his donation at $5,000? If $5,000 is the right donation, my friends, now's a great time to enter it. Look at that. We are already at over we're already over $50,000. I don't think his donations hit our system yet. So my friends, we're already over $50,000, well on our way to our big goal. Let's jump on back in. If $5,000 is the right level, please jump back on in. Maybe $2,500 is a good level. Let me tell you about that. $2,500 will sponsor 50 survivors with Narika workforce development programs. Again, a lot of folks can't escape. They can't escape bad situations because they don't have the financial resources, or they just are thinking to themselves, you know, what am I going to do? How am I going to make this work? Job training and workforce development is absolutely critical to this process. Looks like Ms. Sinha has come in with $2,500. Thank you so much, Ms. Sinha. Greatly appreciate that. Anybody else want to match that at $2,500? Folks, you heard our survivor story earlier when she talked about it's not just her that benefited. Obviously, it's her and her kids and quite possibly future generations going down the line for generations to come. And that's why we're here, and that's why your help is so critical tonight. So again, if you want to match Ms. Sinha's donation at $2,500, now would be a spectacular time to jump in at $2,500 or maybe $1,000. Again, my friends, it costs, oh, there we go. Looks like Benita's jump in at a $2,700. Folks, if you want to come in with your own donation, spectacular. Maybe there's a number that's meaningful to you. Now would be the time to jump in and make that donation right here, right now. Again, it's so easy. You just text the light to 44321 if you haven't already. Don't worry, that's not a donation yet, but then you'll get a bounce back link. Click on that link, and then you'll have the different amounts that you can do. Looks like we're getting Rajiv right there at $2,500, and looks like Thomas for $10,000. Thomas, thank you so much. Greatly appreciate that, folks. No amount is too big or too small. We're getting the bids rolling in right here now. Looks like Nambi's come in with $2,500. Nambi, thank you so much. Greatly appreciate that. Again, folks, the bids are rolling in. We are already, with all the donations in, that if you haven't hit yet, we're north of $65,000. I want to get to a bigger number than that, my folks, but we are well on our way. Again, I was just saying $1,000 is the cost that it costs for one survivor to furnish one survivor with Narika services for an entire year on average. Think about that, my friends. $1,000 is truly going to help one of our survivors escape their current domestic violence situations. Looks like Seema right there, $2,500. Thank you so much, Seema. Appreciate that. Folks, the donations are rolling in, but we can't do this without your support. You know, there's only so much that each person can do individually, but when we come together as a community, when we come together as a group, it is truly amazing what we can do, and that's why we're here tonight, my friends. We're already up north of $65,000, but let's keep it going. Again, if $1,000 is the right level for you, now's a great time to jump in with your $1,000 donation. Maybe 500 is a good level. Now, my friends, 500 is one of my favorite denominations because it's so accessible for so many people. There's so many folks out there who, you know, 500 is a significant amount of money, and boy, those sure add up. But I want everybody to think about, you know, if you can part with $500, now would be a great time because those add up really, really quickly. So, and we've already got another donation right there. Looks like a 500 coming in. Sean right there coming in at 2,500. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate that. Folks, whatever level works for you, the most important aspect of this evening is that you donate at whatever level you're comfortable with. Again, if it's $10,000, like Thomas right there, thank you so much. But again, $7,500, $5,000, $2,500, $1,500, perhaps $250. Again, $250 is another spectacular level because these add up so quickly, make such a difference. Again, my friends, our goal tonight is participation. And by the way, each $250 donation will sponsor 20 survivors with groceries and essentials for a week. Again, my friends, when people escape a dangerous situation, housing, groceries, I mean, you know, eventually we need workforce training and these other things that Narika provides, but the first things that they provide are guidance and counseling on how to get out and how to stay on their own, housing, groceries, essentials, so many things like that, and that's what you're providing tonight. Looks like a couple more donations. Dr. Mehta come in at $1,000. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Dr. Mehta. $1,000 right there. My friends, again, text the light to 44321. Get in our system. If $500 is the right level, jump on in. Looks like AJ coming in at $5,000. AJ, thank you so much. Your generosity will not be forgotten. My friends, every major religion and every major religion here has a tenet that talks about the most generous way to donate is to give to people who you'll never meet and who will never meet you. And that is what we're doing here tonight. My friends, you'll probably never get the opportunity to meet the folks that you help, but they will never forget your generosity here, and that's what we're doing here tonight. And Shobha, just felt it right now, is jumping in at $1,000. Thank you, Shobha. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. My friends, if 500 is a good level, jump on in, maybe 250, or how about $100? My friends, the goal tonight is participation. That is why we're here. Our number one goal is participation. We're hoping that everyone here is going to see these stories, realize what we're doing here, and see how important the good work that Narika is doing, and is going to want to donate something. If $100 is your level, boy, we'd sure appreciate that. Again, $100 sponsors 2 survivors with emergency survival kits. Again, when folks escape these situations, it's a dire situation, and there's time is of the essence, and that's what Narika is there for. So it looks like Lata right there is in for $1,000. Thank you, Lata. Appreciate that. My friends, the goals keep coming in. Look at that. We're already up north of $80,000, and I think a few of our goals are coming in another way we haven't even hit yet. So we're already up to 80,000. We're probably closer to 90,000 folks. If we could just get to $10 more $1,000, we're going to hit our sub goal here tonight during this piece at $100,000. Folks, it's ticking up right here. I know we can get there again. I think we have about 10,000 that hasn't quite hit yet. So again, whatever level works for you, perhaps it's the $500 level, $250, $100, any amount. I'm telling you, these add up really quickly, and it's all about participation, and that's why we're here tonight. So folks, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to keep the bidding open, and in fact, we're going to keep it open for another couple days. But don't wait. Donate right now. If you haven't had a chance, donate the light to 44321. Click the link that bounces back to you. Get right in our system, and you'll see it's so easy to donate. You'll see just how to do it. My friends, if you could make that donation now, that's appreciated. But what we're going to do is we're probably going to take this recording and forward it to everybody. We're going to keep this texting to give open, the light to 44321 again open for another 48 hours. It's going to be open till Tuesday, the 29th at 5 o'clock. So donate now. Forward this along to your friends, your family, anybody who you think would want to support Narika. Now's the time to do that, and we're going to keep open for about another 48 hours. So get your donations in. We'll be back in just a little bit to talk about some of our beautiful art pieces. And in the meantime, let's turn it back over to Raj. And thank you, my friends. We've done spectacularly well here. Thank you for your participation, but don't stop. Keep it coming. Raj, back to you.
All right, Keith, I'm feeling the vibe. I'm feeling the energy. That is awesome. Close to $100,000. By the way, we did that in about 10 minutes. So awesome. Keep it up. Thanks for your contributions. Thanks for your support. Where does that money go? Well, just in case you haven't been paying attention or listening, it goes to legal services. It goes to emergency housing. It goes to food, among the 3 things, among the many things that money goes to help our community. So we're there. We're making it happen. Close to $100,000 right now. Our goal for the evening is $250,000. So thank you for your donations. Thank you for your time tonight. Man, Keith, that got me excited. I'm really feeling the energy here. We appreciate it. Now it's a real treat for us this evening. Our first interviewer for the evening. This is just a powerful conversation to help all of us here. Bay Area's very own Renu Dhillon, founder of Genius Kids, Inc. It's a visionary in early education and a long-term advocate for women's empowerment, and of course, Narika. Take it away.
Thank you, Raj. And I'm going to begin by first taking off my mask with my hair all messed up, but that's okay. And my much needed glasses. So thank you very much for the lovely and your kind words. I am very proud to say I've been a long-term supporter of Narika. And I want to begin by a statement that I actually read somewhere, that in the word domestic violence, the domestic part does not matter. Violence is violence. Today, I have the privilege of conversing with the renowned actor, director, and advocate for social justice and human rights, Ms. Nandita Das. She has a master's degree in social work. She's acted in more than 40 feature films in 10 different languages, and her directorial debut in 2008 with Farak. She was on the jury of the Cannes Film Festival twice, amongst others. She was conferred the Knight of Order of Arts and Letters by the French government. Nandita was a chairperson of the Children's Film Society and wrote a monthly column for 8 years in the Indian magazine, The Week. Manto, Nandita's second directorial film, premiered in 2018 at the Cannes Film Festival and traveled to many others around the world. It can be watched on Netflix. Her first book, Manto and I, chronicles her 6-year journey of making this film. It is available in bookstores and online. On behalf of Narika, and I'm one of her biggest fans, it is an honor for me to welcome and introduce Miss Nandita Das.
Hello.
Can I remove my mask now?
Absolutely. We want to see your pretty face.
Well, sleepy face because it's 8:15 in the morning. Thank you very much. No, thank you. I've been watching the program for the last half an hour with very disturbing stories, inspiring stories. And I think what Narika is doing is really phenomenal. Domestic violence is such a hushed up thing. And while you said, Renu, that, we have to only look at the word violence and not domestic. But what it has done is that domestic has been seen as a private matter, but it's as much a public concern. It's very much a human rights issue. And that's why probably it's, in fact, during this time, it's being called the shadow pandemic. And so, the fact that we've all come together to raise funds, to create awareness, to give strength to women to tell their stories, to sort of remove this culture of silence around it, I think is absolutely much needed. So I'm very, very happy and delighted and honored to support Narika in this venture.
Thank you, Nandita, and it's truly an honor and a pleasure. And I know when I found out I was getting the opportunity to interview you, I did lots of bunga in my room. Let me tell you, I was way too excited. So we have a lot of questions from you, and I want to encourage the audience that if you want to submit your questions, feel free to do so in the chat window, and our Narika panelists will definitely let us know, and we'll try and squeeze in as many questions as we have and we can get. So I want to begin by some of the questions that we have for you, Nandita. So one of my first ones is what has inspired you to raise awareness about domestic violence in your film, Listen to Her? If you could explain that.
Yes. So those of you who don't know, Listen to Her is a 7-minute film. It's on YouTube. I have kept no copyright. It's open source. Anybody can, download it, see it. If you want to do it in another language, go ahead, get in touch with me. So during the pandemic and the beginning, especially, there were all these stories of the migrant workers who are having to go back to their villages and the trauma that they were going through, how the city that they built was in fact shunning them away. And one was just feeling very helpless and, at the same time, almost guilty of the privilege of being at home and being safe. And the slogan that stay home, stay safe suddenly seemed like one of the biggest privileges one had. And then the stories about domestic violence started increasing and coming out in hushed voices, that it had really increased. All the helplines were jammed. So that was extremely disturbing, that even stay home, stay safe, there is an irony to it, because if you're stuck at home with your perpetrator of violence, if you're, locked at home with your abuser, how safe are you? And this is not just for the women, but also for the children. And women are therefore doubly concerned for their own life and for the lives of their children. Also, women were being completely overburdened by work. Across class, women had to shoulder all the responsibilities of their lives, of their families, and many lived in joint families. So these two issues kind of really brought out the irony of stay home, stay safe. And I was still very privileged. I have help at home. I'm a single mother, so at least I don't have anyone ordering me around. I have a 10-year-old child. But yet I was kind of juggling as well with all these Zoom calls, trying to support different organizations, working, taking care of my kid, and despite being so privileged. So I thought I needed to respond to it, and it was a very spontaneous response. It wasn't thought through. In films, usually you need a lot more planning. But here I literally wrote a 7-page script one morning and just shot it with my phone. And with my phone, I didn't even have a tripod to set it right. And I just spontaneously responded to this crisis that we weren't really talking about. And I was glad that I could do that, because like you're getting many comments, my YouTube and other Facebook and everywhere, women were sharing their stories. Many wanted helpline numbers across the country, so I started collating those numbers and put that up in social media. So it was just my own helplessness of feeling that I wasn't being able to do anything, and my own desire to want to respond to a crisis as big as this.
That's wonderful. And a lot of listeners have been asking, it's a short 7-minute movie called Listen to Her. Moving on.
You could put the link. It would be great if somebody could,
yes, if we
from
can
your
maybe put the
team,
link out there
just
so
put the
everybody can
link.
definitely go and
Yeah,
visit it.
then
Yes,
more
I
can
assume it's
watch
on
it.
YouTube then, right?
It's
I
on
assume it's on
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. You've used so many different forms of media for your social activist film, you know, from TED Talks, plays, videos. What do you think has been the most effective way of raising awareness and getting this message out, in your personal opinion?
I think every medium has its own advantages and disadvantages. I wouldn't really compare. I remember the first time that I actually engaged with any social issue was through street theater. When I was college, I was 17, idealistic, and I thought every play was changing the world. You know, because you make eye contact, you go into factories, you go into slums, you go into offices, and just perform. And you know, you talk about issues of gender, you talk about issues of violence, you should, you know, talk about economic issues, education, etc. And there was a direct connect. And then over the years, I've of course used many other different mediums, whether it was, you know, writing a column, like you had said in my intro. You know, so that was also not just cathartic that I could talk about anything, but I would actually meet people who would share their views on it or felt that it resonated with them. So theater has, you know, proscenium play has a different power because you're in a closed hall and you really feel, you take, you know, you feed off the energy of the audience and they respond to it in a very sort of visceral way. Then you have the screen, which is in a way a flat screen. The audience is not even there. And yet, as an audience, you know, I mean, all of us watch films and series, and we know sometimes how close it is to our lives or to something that we are transported to another world. So I think every medium has its pros and cons, and we should not undermine even talking to your, like sometimes people feel like, oh, you're in the public space, you know, you have a larger influence. I think all of us have a circle of influence, and we should make use of that to share our thoughts and ideas and concerns, and, you know, sort of expand on them. So we have families, we have friends, so don't lose any opportunity to share how you feel about things, because it's silence is the most dangerous thing. And Martin Luther King had said that in our times we will repent not for the evil deeds of the bad, but for the silences of the good. So, you know, I really often remember that quote, that we have to sort of remove the veil of that silence.
Absolutely. There's a question that's actually come from the panelists. It said, what inspired you to make Farak? Nilofer Ansari.
So Farak was my first film in 2008. I'm a hesitant actor, hesitant director. It was never a career ambition. Till date, it remains more as a means to an end. But in Gujarat, when in 2002, when we had the Gujarat riots, it was the first time that, you know, we saw images. There was 24/7 television had just begun, and we were actually seeing these images of violence. And when I went to Gujarat and spoke to various people, and also many of my friends were doing work there, I was also doing it in Delhi. I did a series of talks called Identity and the Notion of the Other, and how we other people. And I realized that after the talk, the Q&A or the discussion was always so polarized. And, you know, there's so much of prejudice. And I think it has unfortunately only increased over the years. Identity politics is being played out everywhere in the world. And I think that sort of deeply disturbed me. And what I was really concerned with was not only the acts of violence, because we have seen them, and in some ways we have glamorized violence in cinema, but what lingers on after violence. And I think it's true of also domestic violence. It's not just the physical abuse, but what it does to the mind and the heart and psychologically. And that's what I wanted to really tackle, that when the violence was over, what were people grappling with? And that's how Firak was born. And it was a very difficult film, especially as a first film for someone who hadn't, you know, sort of studied cinema or assisted anybody. But I think life experiences come handy in telling a story that, you know, it felt very personal at many levels.
You know, there's I've been following and I'm a big fan of you, but one of the big issues that I share with you is the color bias that we have. What advice would you give to our younger self, women of color in this world? You know, because, and it's huge in our, you know, the Asian community.
Yeah,
the
it's everywhere.
Color. It's, yeah. What is your take on that?
You know, in 2013, when Women of Worth, this NGO that came to me, they had started this campaign called Dark is Beautiful. And I just sort of supported it. And by default, I became the face of it because most actresses were getting lighter and lighter skinned with every film. And so I sort of became the face of it. And I started realizing that it really needed a standalone attention. While of course, I knew about the issue because being a woman of color, you're constantly reminded of in some way or the other. But so many women came up to me and talked about it. And I think what I would just say that it's something you're born with, whether it's the religion, it's the nationality, it's your nose or your hair or your skin color. These are your given identities. You've done nothing for it. So let nobody make you feel sort of any less than anyone else because of something that you're just born with. What we have to identify with is who we are as people. How are we using our time? What are our interests? What are our passions? What are our concerns? How we think, how we behave? How do we care for people? So I think that's what, do we have empathy or not? How are we expressing ourselves through different mediums? So what we do with our life is what we have to, that's our identity, not we're just what we are born with. So once we have that confidence, once we do things that we feel are enriching us and others around us, then we will stop caring about these identities that people thrust on us. So don't let anyone thrust any identity on you, and create your own.
One of the questions coming from the audience is, it's an anonymous question. She says, I'd like to hear Nandita's views on emotional violence in the South Asian community. We are sometimes told that emotional abuse is not an issue at all and we should ignore it. Can we hope that this issue will actually be accepted ever as a problem in the Indian society?
It is a fact that, in more traditional, patriarchal, feudal societies, there's a lot that gets sort of shoved under the carpet. And women are so sort of low down in that hierarchy of things, and you have a shorter end of the stick, that even when physical abuse is not sort of responded to or anything is done about it, emotional abuse is not even considered. But emotional abuse can scar you just as much. So even in that small 7-minute film, and listen to her, I've talked about this woman who's going through domestic violence, but this other woman who is, someone like me, someone like us, educated, more urban and all of that, but is going through an emotional abuse because overburdening of work is also a kind of an abuse where you are not able to do anything in a focused way, and someone's going to tell you like, come on, you're so privileged. What's your problem? What are you talking about? With something that men take for granted. So emotional abuse definitely is something that needs a lot more attention. So I would just say that please do share that. Like we sometimes feel guilty of even sharing those abuses. We think, oh, it's too small. Am I going to be called a feminist? Am I going to be told that I'm trying to play the victim? Am I making a big deal about it? We are constantly asked to shut up, whether in a family situation or outside. So I would tell every woman or anybody who's being feeling abused, because that feeling is real. It's not for anyone else to judge whether that's big or small or important or not. So I think let's create also a sense of sisterhood. We need help. There is no shame in seeking help. And there are people out there who want to help. So give those who want to help an opportunity to help. So yes, definitely do not shy away from sharing your emotional, psychological abuse. That's just as important as a scar that you can see on the body.
Absolutely. Are you currently acting, directing, or producing any films right now that you
Not,
could share with
I'm
us?
writing, I do take time. I do take time in writing, and there are so many stories that kind of are vying for your attention because there's so much happening around us in society, in the world, that is of such deep concern that, you're kind of, in these 6 months, I must have done more than five, like, I don't know, maybe more than 50, 60 webinars, and I'm kind of webinared out completely. But I just feel that this is also a way to connect and share stories, and because so many people have inspired me and whatever little I can do, and also they enrich my own understanding of the human predicament. But so writing has been low, but yes, I have begun writing a story, and hopefully in a few months, or I don't know when this pandemic is going to get over, but sometime next year I hope that I can shoot and bring to you another story that has a heart, and also kind of reaches the head, because it's when it's both, that's when I think it creates a small shift, and after all, these personal shifts then create hopefully a collective shift.
I love to watch those meaningful movies. They make a lot of sense, and they definitely motivate and inspire people.
But we
What,
need more audiences for it.
yes. In this world of online tools and platforms of communication and dating, that's what everybody's in right now. They just want to sit on apps, they want to date people. What advice would you give to women and youth? I mean, we heard the story today about the lady who read an ad from an NRI. What is your advice to all the young women out there that are trying to date and meet people, and they're using these apps in hope of that search of a life partner?
Well, I mean, I don't know what to advise, because these are very personal matters. Each one responds differently, and there are no rules about love and relationships. So I would just say that the digital medium is a neutral medium. You can do good things with it, you can do bad things with it. Look at our social media, you can be trolled badly, you can actually have really meaningful connections, and you can sort of join the dots with like-minded people. So it's really what you do. I'm not going to denigrate any medium. Of course, I'm still maybe old school. I just think human connection and real conversations, and conversation that has depth. What the digital medium has done is it's kind of narrowed everything into sound bites, and it has also created a false sense of us with these Snapchats and these DPs and all that. We put ourselves in the way we don't even look, and we are constantly having to posture and create a self that we are not. So I think the more authentic you are, the more authentic response you will get, because otherwise you're going to get a response that is not going to last long, because they are responding to a self that is not you. So I think it's good to bear yourself and be yourself. And I think authenticity is extremely important in whatever you do, and more so definitely in relationships. For me, work, life, they're not so separate. So I would just authenticity in everything, even if it takes time, even if you have to stumble and fall a few times, at least you'll know the real thing and not something that is not even real to begin with. So yeah, so find ways to sort of also dig deeper into these things, so that when you actually meet the right person, they're liking you, they're loving you, they're caring for you with all of blemishes and warts, because we also have those, but at least they're coming into this relationship for the right reason.
Beautifully said. I mean, I'm still old school as well. I feel, human connection is far more important. In your TED Talk, Anandita, A Mother's Journey with Anger, you underscore the importance of disarming anger with love. As you know, it can be very difficult to do when you're feeling angry with yourself. Can you share an example of how you have confronted anger with love?
Yeah, I can't say that I've overcome it. I still get angry from time to time, but less and less. And I've really worked on it, because as a young person, I was very angry about things that bothered me. I was very judgmental. I was a bit righteous. I also kind of justified anger because it was against injustice, and it was against things that were not authentic. It was against everything that was bad. And in some ways, my friends and family also sort of liked it, in the sense they felt that I was passionate about things, that I was angry for, like I said, for the right reasons. But over the years, just seeing so much violence in the world in so many forms, I feel anger is also a step towards that violence. And also it comes from the place of righteousness. It comes from the place, I'm more right than you. And when you do that, you're not empathetic, you're not listening, and you're not finding a more constructive way to deal with it. And I realized this when I became a mother, and I could see those flashes of anger in my child. And I knew that, how does a child even know this emotion of anger if he or she hasn't seen it? And I realized that he was, in a way, without realizing it, just sort of, because children are like sponges, he was just emulating me. And that's when I realized that how detrimental and how futile anger is. And what do you replace it with? You can sometimes replace it with sadness, you sometimes replace it with love, sometimes empathy, sometimes concern, thoughtfulness, awareness. And it's a journey. You can never say that you'll never be angry, and it must replace itself with something constructive. So it doesn't mean you're less passionate or you don't care when there is injustice. Of course you do, but anger is not going to change that. You have to really engage with it. You have to find a way, you have to move towards the solution. So yeah, that's what I would say, that when I get angry, I still get angry, but I come down and I sort of come back and, level myself and kind of find that equilibrium much faster now than I used to, let's say, 10 years ago or 20
I
years
never
ago.
think
So
you
it's a
would get
work in
angry. You look
progress.
very calm and
Oh,
sharp.
yeah. Well, I have no
So-
reason to be angry right now. Such wonderful people and such great
Yes,
questions.
absolutely. Well, in closing, I know we just have a few more minutes. So my last question to you is, when
There was
people
one question here that I'd like to address if we have 2 minutes. It was
Yes, of
about
course.
marital rape.
Oh,
Because
yes.
we often don't talk about it. I think it's a very important question also in the context of
Feel
domestic
free.
violence.
Please go ahead.
Somebody had
Yes.
asked, sorry, it's gone up. I don't know where it is, but
I think it was what are
somebody
your
had
thoughts
asked
about
about,
marital rape?
yeah, in India or something like
Yes,
that.
yes.
Well, it's everywhere. Marital rape is still being debated. It's strange because in a way, marriage is supposed to give you the legitimacy to do what you want. After all, it's your husband, and even though you're being abused, you're not supposed to speak against it. So marital rape is still rape. In fact, I did a film, slightly more mainstream film for me, but hatke, as they say, a little more alternate for the director and the others, called Aks. And it was with Mr. Bachchan, and I was playing his wife. And they asked me, in fact, to be part of the writing work, because at that time I didn't want to do the film initially. And the director, Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra, said, why don't you become part of the writing process? And I talked about marital rape, and I tell my husband that, you raped me, because he was very abusive. And initially there was a lot of conversation, like, you can't tell your husband you raped me. And this I'm talking about in 2000, when it was being talked even less. And I said, yes, but he did. So, even though, I mean, the whole story was he has another soul getting into him, etc. But the point was, we have to talk about it more openly and sort of call it out and give it a name, because it is a very grave form of abuse. And just because you're married, you're not allowed to be, being so abusive. In fact, that's your partner, he should be the first person who should not be doing that. So definitely, please break the silence around it.
And my last question to you in closing, because I know we have to wrap up, is when people think about Nandita Das, the words are inspiring, phenomenal, strong. As a child, did you know this is how you were going to be?
Nobody knows what you're going to be, right? So, and whatever your childhood is, that becomes your normal. I only later got to know that my childhood was not so normal, because my father is a painter, my mother a writer. I was given a lot of freedom to question and to be myself, and that was such a luxury and privilege. I got to know only later. I could study what I wanted to. I was exposed to a lot of different arts. There was without knowing any isms, whether it was feminism or whether it's secularism, and without knowing any isms, they were just naturally very inclusive, and all of those great issues that I got to understand and give a name to much later. So I'm very, very grateful for that childhood. I'm sorry, but these questions I find are very, very pertinent. Somebody's talking about misogyny. So just to kind of wrap it up, I know it's not a great word to wrap it up.
There are
but
so
I
many
just
questions. Feel
that,
free to answer. Yeah.
No, just because I think these are such important questions and we don't talk about it, and they are all interconnected. There's so much misogyny in our country, of course, but world over as well. It is coming out, it's manifesting in the way women are being hounded in public, the kind of media trial we are doing against women that we would never do against men, the kind of trolling. I've myself experienced a lot of it. So there is definitely a lot of misogyny that is sort of almost omnipresent. And when we talk about it, we kind of call it out, and we help in at least bringing it out and not normalizing it. So much of misogyny has been normalized. So again, I would just sort of end it with that, let's remove this culture of silence. And for that, we don't have to be angry. We don't have to become like, we don't, like modern women sometimes feel like, do we have to become like men? We don't need to. We can keep our nurturing, beautiful, feminine. When I say, I want to believe that every person has a masculine and feminine. So, keep that beautiful, nurturing quality. And yet, with strength and with confidence, we have to call out these various forms of abuse, not just for ourselves, but also for others when we see that happening around us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's been such an honor. And this
you,
is an
Reina.
evening I probably will never forget for the rest of my life. I'm such a big fan of yours.
Thank
And right
you.
after this, I'm going to go on all your films back again to watch. But thank you so much, Nandati, on behalf of
So thank you,
Narika.
Narika, for sort of getting me to participate in this and share my thoughts, because I deeply care about these things, and to be able to share, it's also a reaffirmation of your own pledge towards what you're saying. So thank you again. I'll have to go. I have a 10-year-old, and as we women juggle a lot, so I would have loved to see the rest of it, but hopefully it'll be online. And please do donate. Yes, I want to make that call at the end, that do donate, do support, do volunteer. Let's all do the best we can. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Over back to you, Raj. I've had the honor of, I took it away from you. I had the honor of interviewing this beautiful woman for today.
She is amazing. And gosh, both of you are just such great examples of strength, of beauty, of compassion, inside and outside, and leadership in the community. So I was riveted. I could go on another hour listening to her, couldn't you?
Yes, yeah. And I'm to all the audience, I know you have so many questions in there, and we tried to get to whatever we could, but we're short of time. But again, thank you very much. And back to you, Raj.
No, I was riveted. Excellent job. You could take over for me at NBC. Excellent job interviewing her.
Be careful what you say on air. I'll record you.
And you know what? I get it. Look, she's got a 10-year-old. It's Monday morning in Delhi, where she is, I believe. So it's school. It's the whole deal. So we appreciate her time. And Renu, I have a question for you, just from your perspective, and I'm asking this journalistically almost. Are things getting better? Is Narika helping? Because we know we're helping, but is it tangibly getting better in the Bay Area? Are we making a difference here?
I think every voice and everything that we do makes a difference. I can definitely tell you that 30 years ago, I will vocalize this today. 30 years ago, I wish I had known about Narika. I didn't. And the story that the lady was talking, I wish I'd had a phone number to call as well, believe it or not, have had that experience. I think if we can all donate and we can all verbalize and make sure that even behind a smile, there is a voice that needs help or someone that needs help, we can all make a difference. And we should stop worrying about what people say. We just need to make a difference in even if we make a difference in one person's life, you've made a difference. You've saved 3 lives, even if you save 1.
Yeah, I agree. Again, excellent job with that interview. It was fascinating and riveting. So we appreciate it. You can donate. You can help people here, and that's what we're asking for, right? Whether it's $100, $500, whatever the case, and it's tangible money. It's going right to helping these victims of DM, domestic violence. Narika, by the way, supports 15 different languages, Indian and South Asian languages. So there's no cultural roadblock here. There's no linguistic roadblock. They're here to help. So again, we're trying to get to $250,000, and we're getting there. We really are. To donate, text the light, no space, just THELIGHT, the light, to 44321.
Narika continues its mission to promote safety, empowerment, and well-being. Last year, we served 413 clients with over 2,000 counseling sessions. We had 155 program participants for Narika's job programs and support group. We hosted 240 attendees for our wellness financial literacy events. We served our clients in 12 languages. Narika served our most vulnerable community members. We changed lives, but it wouldn't have been possible without you. Over half of Narika's revenue comes from individual donations of generous community members. Over 85% of Narika's budget goes directly towards survivor services. Your investment helps sustain our free domestic violence helpline and counseling, emergency financial assistance, job programs, and prevention programs. Narika's operating costs are underwritten by Narika board contributions. Home is a safe place for most of us. However, with the lockdown, survivors found themselves locked at home with their abusers, restricted in their movements, financially insecure, and lacking access to care. During COVID-19, most countries saw a 30% increase in cases reported to domestic violence crisis hotlines. In March, Narika saw a 3x increase in helpline calls. Narika served 413 clients with 1,670 counseling sessions. We distributed 1,500 pounds of food and close to $20,000 in emergency financial aid. Our work is not done. Narika's vision is that everyone deserves a life free of violence. 2021 will see Narika launch the three-pronged approach. Commitment to increasing hours of coverage for crisis helpline and improving the breadth and depth of services for survivors of domestic violence. Launch of various prevention programs, including youth-led campaigns on healthy relationships and prevention of teen dating violence. Through NARTEC, a digital abuse awareness series, we are excited to expand assistance to victims of digital abuse. We cannot do this alone. You can help make this vision a reality with a donation of $1,000 or a monthly commitment of $85. You can sponsor one survivor with access to all of Narika's services and programs for a whole year. Please join us. Commit to making a donation today. Together, we can meet the critical needs of our community and amplify and strengthen the voices of our survivors. Your impact is real, and your contribution makes a difference in the lives of those we serve. Text The Light to 44321 right now. Make an investment in safety and wellness for our communities.
Lata Krishnan, a philanthropist and accomplished leader, has been an ardent supporter of Narika for over 20 years. She was one of the first people to call during COVID-19 and make a generous donation to support our client's critical needs. We recognize her as Narika's guardian of safety for the many ways she has gone above and beyond to support Narika's mission. Thank you, Lata Krishnan.
Narika would like to recognize our sister organization, partner, and ally, Asian Women's Shelter. We have served side by side in our joint mission to support our survivors' social and economic self-determination and eliminate domestic violence. Thank you, Asian Women's Shelter.
Bay Area Lady Sri Ram College Alumna Group has been a testament to what a like-minded group of socially conscious, dedicated individuals can accomplish together. They have collectively raised funds to support Narika's COVID-19 response efforts and continue to support us with strategic planning and program development. Thank you.
Narika would like to recognize two distinguished women who have done outstanding work for survivors who did not have the financial means to access legal consultation and representation. First, Teresa Francis at Francis Legal. Teresa Francis is a family law attorney in Fremont who has supported numerous survivors by representing them in court to obtain restraining orders, child custody, and divorce. Second, Kalpana Bedi Botla at MLPG. Kalpana Bedi Botla's association goes back to her time at law school when she was a Narika volunteer. She has consistently represented various survivors seeking immigration relief and other visa benefits. Thank you, Teresa and Kalpana, for empowering and providing critical needs to our survivors.
My friends, welcome back. We are so close to hitting our night of goal. I just checked it, and I think if you check it right here, it looks like we're at $99,425. We are literally $575 away from our sub goal tonight of $100,000. I know we can get there, but again, that's just a sub goal, so please keep the donations coming. All you need to do is very, very simple. Just text the light to 44321. That'll get you into the system. Follow the simple prompts and make your donations. Again, oh, and I wanted to thank, too, the reason we got there, Vina came in with a very generous $10,000 donation. So, Vina, thank you so much. We couldn't do this without you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. So, my friends, we are getting there. We've had almost 40 donors here tonight, about 160 people watching. So keep the bids coming, keep them coming up. And by the way, we're going to keep the donations open until, now's a great time to bid, but we're going to keep them open until Tuesday at 5 o'clock. That's Tuesday, the 29th, about 45 hours from now. So keep the bids coming in. In the meantime, I just want to see if we can turbocharge some of our bidding on a couple of our items here. If we want to go to the first painting, let's see what that looks like. Folks, if you know, we have 7 spectacular paintings in our silent auction here. They are just gorgeous, and you'll see the first one we're going to talk about is called Walking Free. Looks like the bidding is at about $1,000. If you want to donate that, folks, jump into $1,000, and the way to bid is just enter it right there in the text. I can see your text right here. Just go ahead. If you want to donate $1,000 for this beautiful painting, again, these sold about in the $5,000 range at last year's event. But again, we're feeling generous here tonight. Want you to be able to participate. Get one of these spectacular paintings for your home, your office, wherever you want it. If you want to jump in, please jump in. It looks like $1,200. Somebody jumped in at $1,000, but then it looks like Ashu jumped in at $1,200. We're going to say $1,200 is a bid. If somebody else wants to jump in, how about $1,500? Is $1,500 a good level? Again, looks like we're at $1,200 with Ashu. Again, if you want to jump in, make the bid. We're going to keep this moving here. And again, don't forget, folks, we just had another donation. We are literally $5 to $100 away from $100,000. We're at 99.5 right there. Again, feel free to enter, to text the light to 44321. Make your donations there. And again, don't forget to bid on Walking Free right now. Someone came in at $1,400. We'll take it. SM came in at $1,400. Thank you so much. That's SM. Oh, and looks like a special thanks to Professor Thomas Kaleth as well for his $10,000 donation. We thanked him earlier. But hey, Vima, Thomas, you come in with $10,000, you get thanked again. Appreciate that. We got somebody else. Oh, Ashu's back at $1,600. Nicely done, Ashu. We got Ashu's in at $1,600. SM or anybody else want to jump back in at, it's got to be, let's call it $1,800. I'm at $1,600 right there. It's got to be $1,800. If you want to jump in, again, it's so easy. Just enter it in the text. Just enter the number 1,800 for a text from you. We'll find you. That's what we're calling 1,800. SM's back at 1,800. Fantastic. Ashu, you know what to do. Or anybody else, if you want back in, it's $2,000. We're at 1,800. Beautiful painting, Walking Free. Again, these similar paintings last year sold for for $5,000. Well, it looks like Ashu came in at 19. We'll take that, Ashu. SM, if you want back in, we can't take anything lower than $2,000, but we'll take your donation at $2,000. Again, I'm with Ashu at 1,900. SM, if you want back in, it's got to be $2,000. SM's back. Oh, and I saw, I'm sorry, Anu, I saw SM first. So Anu, if you want back in, it's 2,100. Again, if you want back in, 2,100. I'm going to say going one time at 2,000 to SM. Anu, if you want back in, it's 2,100. Anu's in at 2,100 right there. Thank you so much. SM or Ashu, if you want back in, let's go to 2,250. I'm at 2,100. Want back in, it's got to be 2,250. It's got to be 2,250 if you want back in. I'm at 2,100 with a new SM, Ashu. You're both out, but guess what? You can jump back in right here for 2,250. I'm at 2,100 with a new 2,250. SM's back right there. If either Anu or Ashu wants back, it's 2,500. I'm at 2,250 right there. 2,500 puts you back on top. Again, I'm at 2,250. It's got to be 2,500. 2,500 from Anu. They're back. Let's go back in at 2,750. Anu is in at 2,500. Ashu or SM, if you want back in, 2,750 is the bid. I'm at 2,500 going one time. It's got to be 2,750. Put you back on top again. Sold for around the $5,000 level last year. Going twice to Anu at 2,500. SM or Ashu, if you want back in, it's got to be 2,750. Selling in 5, 4, 3, 2. It's got to be 2,750. Last call. Again, don't wait. There might be a little delay here, so don't wait. If you want to jump back in, jump right back in. I'm at Anu at 2,500. It's got to be 2,750. Last call. Sold it right there. 2,500 to Anu. Congratulations. You're going to love that painting. Congratulations. That's fantastic. All right. That was Walking Free. That was fun. Let's do another one. What do you think? Fantastic. So the next one is called Mind, Soul, and Belief. Beautiful painting. Again, mysterious. I like it. So fantastic. If you want on this one, again, I like starting low and getting high. Wait, that sounds kind of funny. I like starting the bidding low, seeing where we go. Somebody kicked me off. $1,000. Do we have a $1,000 donation right here? Again, we're selling Mind, Soul, and Belief. You can see the picture right to my, right on your right there. Again, Mind, Soul, and Belief. If you want in, it's just $1,000. You just enter your bid right here in the text window. It's that simple. Again, just jump right on into the text window, enter your bid. Again, somebody want to kick us off, just $1,000. What do you think? SM, a shoe, either any one of you, if you want to jump right back in. Someone's asking, whose paintings are these? Do we have a good answer for that? Someone want to write it on the whiteboard? We can support that. We'll get that question to you right here in just a sec. But again, folks, this one, Mind, Soul, and Belief, is selling for just $1,000. Oh, good. SM's back in at 1,100. We'll take it. Oh, very good. Pooja Kanduja is the artist. So it's a spectacular, beautiful work here. Again, Pooja is the artist, and she is amazing indeed. Anybody else? Oh, 1,500. Anu's back. Thank you so much. Anu back in at 1,500. Let's go to 1,750. I'm at 1,500 right there with Anu. It's got to be 1,750. A shoe or SM. Anybody else want to jump back in at 1,750? We're at 1,500 right here. Could be the screaming deal tonight. Again, my friends, keep the bidding coming in. We're at 1,500. I'm going to say going one time at 1,500. Anu's got a big smile on her face at home. I can see through the camera and see. Oh, SM jumped in at 1,600. We'll take that bid. Fantastic. Anybody else wants to jump in? It's 1,750. Again, oh, 1,800. We'll take that even better. A shoe's in at 1,800. Let's go to $2,000. Again, if a shoe's in at 1,800, if SM or Anu wants to jump back in, it's got to be $2,000. We got to keep the bids a little bit of some kind of size there. We can't go 18 and 1. That won't work because I won't take that because we'll be here all night. But let's go 2,000 from Anu right there. Congratulations. Anu's in. Oh, SM, you came in just a hair too late. SM, if you want back in, it's $2,250. I'm at $2,000 with Anu. Anu got that in just a split second before you did. Again, what's the size of the paintings? Well, our respondents will tell you that right there. We got that information right in there. Well, you can just enter it in the tell-in. What's that? 24 by 36. I knew that. Thank you so much. And then they just got it right in there. So again, yeah, 2001 SM. Sorry, we're not going to take that. It's got to be 2250. So I'm in right there with 2250. There you go. SM's back in at 2250. Thank you. Anu, a shoe, if you want back in, $2,500. I like your thinking there, but we can't go up by dollars. We'll be here all day. So anyway, 2250 is the bid with SM. If anybody else wants to jump back in, again, if you see, and that's a good point. If you switch to speaker view, you can see me and the painting detail, which is make it so you can take a look at what it looks like. Again, we're at 2,500. Anu's back in right there, 2,500. SM or a shoe, if you want back in, it's 2,750. We're at 2,500 there. It's got to be 2,750. I'm going to say going one time to Anu at 2,500. Again, folks, don't wait. There might be a 3 or 4 second delay from when the real me says it and then you see the TV me say it. So you don't want to wait and lose your bid right there. Again, I'm at 2,500 with Anu. It's got to be 2,750. Going one time at 2,500. It's got to be 2,750. Jump right back in. Don't wait. 2,750. Going twice with Anu at 2,500. Anybody else wants to jump back in? A shoe, SM, want to jump back in at 2,750. Selling in 5, 4, 3. Oh, 2,750. SM's back. I like the bidding. Thank you so much. A shoe, Anu, you want back in? It's $3,000. I'm at 2,750. It's got to be 3. Back in. $3,000 puts you back on top. I'm at 2,750 with SM. Going one time at 2,750. It's got to be 3 large. Twice at 2,750. Want back in? It's 3,000. Selling in 5. Don't wait. Again, we got a little bit of lag here. Don't want to wait till the last second. 4, 3, 2. Fantastic. I'm with 2,750 with SM right there. And I'm going to say last call. And oh, 3,000. Anu. You were literally half a second away there, Anu. Nice bidding. Anu's right in there. And Anu wants to see all the other paintings. I'm not sure exactly how we'll do that. We'll work on that right now. But they're all coming up. So I've got 3,000 with Anu. If SM or a shoe wants back in, it's 3,250. I'm at 3 large right there. It's got to be 3,250. Going one time at $3,000. Again, Anu is in at 3,000. If anybody else wants to be back in, it's 3,250. A shoe, SM, what do you think? Back in at 3,250. Going twice at 3,000. It's got to be 3,250. Selling in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last call. I'm going to say sold it right there. Anu has purchased it for $3,000. Anu, thank you so much. Congratulations. You're going to love this. Your home, your office, wherever you want to put it. It's going to look beautiful. Thank you so much. This is going. Let's do another one. What do you think? What do you want to sell next? All right, by your side. This is one of my favorites right here. Look at that beautiful piece. So peaceful. You're going to love that one. Again, I like starting low and seeing where we go. Once again, somebody kicked me off. $1,000. We got By Your Side right here. By Your Side for $1,000. Who wants to jump back in? By Your Side, $1,000. I'm at By Your Side. If you want to kick in, it's got to be $1,000. Again, right there. A beautiful picture, a couple of women there. The spacing is beautiful. It's just such a nice piece here. Jump back in, $1,000. Who wants to jump in? Going one time. We got to need $1,000 to kick us off. Let's kick it off at $1,000. A shoe SM. Anybody else? We still got about 160 people watching here tonight. So anybody else wants to jump in? The water's warm. Feel free to jump on in. Looks like, oh, Sanjay's coming in, 1,100. We'll take it. Sanjay, nice bidding there. Sanjay's in 1,100. If anybody else wants back in, let's go to 1,250. I'm at 1,100 on the side. It's got to be 1,250. Again, one of my favorites right here, By Your Side. You're going to love this one. I'm at 1,100. It's got to be 1,250 if you want to jump back in. Sanjay's got a big smile on his face over there. Thinks he might be going home with this. I'm just telling you, going one time at 1,100. It's got to be 1,250, folks. Don't miss out. 1,250 puts you back on top. I'm at 1,100 right there. It's got to be 1,250. Going twice at 1,100. It's got to be 1,250. Anybody else back in? 1,250. Selling in 5. Again, don't wait till the last minute, my friends. A lot can happen, but there's just might be a little bit of video delay from the time I say it to the time you see the video. 1,500. SM's back. Sorry, Sanjay, you're out, my friend. Hey, but good news. The good news is 1,750 puts you back on top, my friend. That's how we roll here. I've got 1,500. It's got to be 1,750 if you want back on top. Anybody else can come right back in 1,750. Again, I'm at 1,500. It's got to be 1,750. Anybody else want back in 1,750? Again, you can come right back in 1,750. It's for you. Again, By Your Side, beautiful piece. I'm at 1,500 going one time. Wow, it's on sale for 1,500. 1,750 puts you back on top. What do you think? A shoe, either one of you want back in at 1,750, going twice at 1,500. It's got to be 1,750. Anybody else? Selling in 5, 4, that was 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's got to be 1,750. Anybody else? Last call. I'm going to say sold it. SM, you've just bought your first piece tonight. Congratulations. Thank you so much. You're going to love that one. Let's keep this going, folks. We still got action. We still got bidding. I've got Patience is Power. Another beautiful painting right here. Very mysterious piece right there. I think that'd look good at a lot of spots. So we're going to call that right there. Perfect. So it's Patience is Power. Let's get this one going again. $1,000 started off. I need $1,000 to kick it off. $1,000 will get you started with Patience is Power right there. Take a look at it. Beautiful piece again. They're all 36 by 24. Beautiful pieces here. $1,000 will kick us off. What do you think, Sanjay? You want in $1,000? You want to kick us off? He's thinking about it right there. We tell you what, I'll just watch Braveheart on my phone while you think about it. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that. Folks, anybody wants to jump in, $1,000 will put you back on top. Anybody else want to jump in? A shoe. SM, anybody else want to jump back in at $1,000? Again, my friends, why are we here? One of the most important parts of the night here. Again, we are raising money for Narika. So many great services, so many things they do. You know, there's so many things when domestic violence happens. So many things are necessary, and Narika covers so many of them, which is why we're here tonight. So, by the way, still, if you want to refresh the donation page, I'd love to see if we've got over $100,000 right there. In the meantime, Patience is Power. Need a $1,000 opening bid going one time. Anybody else can jump right back in. And it's going up, going up, going up. We're still there. We're almost at 100,000. We'll get there. But again, for this piece, Patience is Power, looking for an opening bid of $1,000, going one time, twice. Tell you what we're going to do. I think we have a few more paintings. We're going to keep those in our sound auction. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to keep our sound auction and our special appeal here tonight, which you see right below me. We're going to keep that open until Tuesday at 5 o'clock. So that's open for about another 45 hours. Don't hesitate. Go check out our sound auction. You know where to do that. Go check out our sound auction. Forward this video. You'll get it probably in your email tomorrow. Forward it to your friends and family. Get them to watch. They'll still be able to donate, but only for about another 45 hours, only until Tuesday, the 29th at 5 o'clock. So again, continue to donate. Go to check out the sound auction. You can bid on these paintings. We got Rising from Dawn right there. A couple other beautiful paintings. Continue to bid on the paintings and all of our other sound auction lots. Keep on making your donations. Once again, my friends, my name is Keith McLean, KLM Auctions. Absolutely thrilled to be with you here with Narika. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for sticking with us. And we can't wait to see you next year, maybe virtually, but maybe we'll get lucky and be back in the room next year. So thanks again. Now, if you'd pay attention to this important video to get us wrapped up here. Thank you so much.
Hi, this is Ashu Goyal, CEO of Winwire, a global technology services firm. We at Winwire are passionate about working for purpose-driven organizations and are proud to support Narika's purpose of empowering women and supporting victims of domestic violence. Please join me in supporting Narika's purpose and helping create a violence-free world. Thank you.
Hi, this is Audrey Yamamoto, and I am the President and Executive Director of the Asian Pacific Fund. And the reason that we support Narika is because we know that they are providing essential services to victims of domestic violence. And that's a service and need and support that is more important than ever given the pandemic. So it's really our honor to support their work and their commitment. And we hope that you'll choose to do the same. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Neil Chatterjee, and I support Narika. Narika serves a very important purpose to help those South Asian people in the Bay Area who find themselves in the most difficult and challenging of circumstances. They provide safety, security, help with immigration, and most important, a listening ear in languages that they speak. I support Narika because of the important service it provides to the South Asian community in the Bay Area. Please join me and give generously.
Again, hello, good evening, and thanks for staying with us throughout this powerful evening. I hope it was as interesting and powerful and moving as it for all of you as it was for me. I know this was we started this with a masquerade theme. In fact, I still have my my mask right here, so allow me to just join in the message here. Gosh, I haven't worn one of these up here. Usually we do the mask down here. But our point tonight was for this masquerade theme, we're going to take off the masks like we did at the beginning of the night, symbolically for all of us together to take off the masks, to do our part in reducing the silence surrounding domestic violence, not just in our community, but the overall community. But specifically tonight, we are doing it for the South Asian and the Indian community. I remember my aunt got involved with Narika nearly 30 years ago. My uncle, my cousins are still very involved, and now I'm involved, and it's a pleasure to be part of this great organization. The money is going directly to help women in need. So again, thank you for being here. If you donated, thank you so much. And just being here, having our presence as a community really helps. It helps spreads the message, and we can help so many people by doing it. So enjoy your night. Enjoy your week. I hope everyone stays healthy and optimistic. We will all get out of this through this together. So thanks you for your patience through the night and your understanding and listening to all the messages and your contributions and your time. Good night. Thank you. Have a great week ahead. Good night, everyone.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I hope you can see. Yeah, thank you so much, Raj. This was a wonderful evening. We thank all our guests and our participants who's joined us for our pre-party and stayed with us throughout this evening, and all your support. We are almost near $100,000, and we are going to keep our bids on. So please take a moment to pledge, and thank you for your ongoing support to Narika. We are going to close out the night right now, but we want to take a picture so that we can memorialize this evening. And so I want you to all stay on, and the AV guys, they're going to tell us what to do. Wave, turn your videos on, wave. Yes, thank you so much. A heartfelt gratitude from all of us to all of you in your homes. Oh, he's going to take a selfie. So
okay.
Oh, we turn around like this? Seema, turn around. 6 feet, people.
6 feet.
Thank you all for a great evening. Have a good night.